بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. My brothers and sisters, I am in this beautiful place called, I hope I am pronouncing it correctly, Metinge Park or Metingu Park. I'm sure I'm massacring the name, but anyway, it's in West Springfield. And as you can see, I'm standing on top of on a bridge, on a stone bridge, and that's what the stone bridge wall looks like, and which is across this wonderful stream. There is something very peaceful about the sound of flowing water. So let me leave that for a couple of seconds for you to, I don't know if the phone will record it, but let's see. So the sound of flowing water, there's this road that goes off into the forest, which I am going to go down just now in a little while. And just for the record, this is the other side of the bridge, and this is what this one looks like. This plant which you see here is usually, I think it's just now they have finished flowering, so normally it has brilliant white flowers. This is the part of Metinge Park which has picnic grounds, and so they have picnic tables and barbecue places for my South African friends, braai stations. And now, what is it about a river, and why is that important as far as we are concerned in life? Rivers are a reminder of the constant renewal of something. We have the saying in English of water under the bridge. We say don't worry about water under the bridge, meaning that's gone, which is a link to a very good understanding of life itself, which is not to get rooted in the past, not to get stuck in the past, and not to worry about the future, but to worry about the only thing which matters, which is the present. And rivers teach you that. So if you sit on the bank of a stream and you watch the water flowing, you can do that as a little experiment and pick one point directly in front of you. Maybe it's a rock or something, or a fallen tree, and focus on that and see and remind yourself that every drop of water that's gone past that will never come back again. And every drop of water that's passing that is a new drop of water. And that's exactly what happens in our lives. Whatever we allow to pass will never come back again. Whether it's something good or something bad. Whether it is a relationship that we cherished and enjoyed and learned from and valued, or the opposite, whether it was a relationship that became toxic. No relationship usually starts as toxic. Almost all of them start as something good, but things happen and they become toxic. So whichever way it goes, we remind ourselves and say, well, that's not coming back. Now, what is with me today? And why is that important? It's important for two reasons. One is that while I did say don't get stuck in the past, I will also remind myself and you, don't ignore the past. Don't forget the past. Don't let the past elude you, because the past is what you spent time, energy, emotion on, and it should have taught you and me something. For many of us it doesn't, and that is why they say that history repeats itself. And one of my, or rather, two of my favorite sayings. One is that nations, and this applies also to individuals, nations that do not learn from history are condemned to repeat it. And see the words, nations that do not learn from history are condemned to repeat it. And this applies to people. People who do not learn from history are condemned to repeat it. So, living in the present, learning from the past, and making sure that in the present we do the best that we can do. This is the policy that I want to talk about here today, using the metaphor of the stream. Here is a scene from the forest here in Mettininghu Park, and there are deer here which are sitting in that dappled shade. And of course, this phone is not capable of getting those pictures. But the reason I'm focusing on that is again for the same thing, to say that this is how animals live, and the great wisdom. This is also about how they live. This is also how they deal with all kinds of catastrophic events in their lives. This is how they deal with tragedy. This is how they deal with bereavement. This is how they deal with loss. Not by going into depression, not by taking drugs, not by committing suicide, but by carrying on, by having enormous resilience. Now, not all of that may be the result of reasoned thought, but since Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the ability for reasoned thought, there is no reason why we cannot do the same with reasoned thought. Now, what animals do, deer for example, deer are on everyone's menu card. They are the preferred dish for all predators, and that applies to them at practically every age, any age. Little fawns, adult deer, even the biggest elk or moose is grizzly bear food. So there is nothing that a deer can do which can change that. So what do? They don't spend their life in depression. They do two things. One is that they learn from their experience. So they have developed their senses to such an enormous peak that for even, I'm going away from America, one of the most successful predators in the world, if not the most successful predator, is a leopard. And a leopard has a kill rate of 1 in 7. So out of every 7 attempts it makes, only 1 is successful. And the reason is not because the leopard is not trying hard enough, but the reason is because the prey species, the impala, the deer, so the antelopes and the deer, they have developed their sense of awareness, their speed of response, their getaway plans, all of that to such an enormous extent that it makes life very difficult for the deer, for the leopard. And then, of course, think about that every deer that the leopard kills, or every prey species that the predator kills, I'm dead against anthropomorphing. That's one of these words. So anthropomorphing, meaning giving human characteristics to animals. This is a very, very wrong thing we do, but we do that all the time. So anthropomorphic thinking is incorrect. Now, however, in this case, I'm just saying that whichever deer is killed is somebody's mother, father, daughter, son, aunt, uncle, whatnot, right? So for the deer family, they've lost someone they loved and someone they trusted and someone they relied upon. They don't just sit down and die. They don't go to the doctor to their CP for, and say, please prescribe for me marijuana or something, right? Or morphine. They carry on with life. So they learn from the experience. The one who dies, but doesn't die in vain, because the others learn from that experience and they carry on with their life. Now this is such a beautiful example for us to learn from, because life is life. Every single person out there in the world who you see as fabulous, and you say, you know what, I wish I had their life. And as they say, be careful what you wish for, because you have no idea what is in that life. All you are seeing is what comes in front of you. You do not know what is behind that. You do not know all that has happened to that person in their life. So yet what we see in front, we say, oh, I wish I had that. But that's not true. So everyone, no matter how within quotes beautiful, whatever the description of beautiful is, however beautiful you think their life is, has tragedy in it, has bereavement in it, has partings in it. It has love, it has hatred, it has enemies, it has friends. It's a gamut, it's the work. It's the work of life. And the same thing applies to you, same thing applies to me. So we can't allow that to drag us down and to spoil the rest of the beautiful life that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us. So from the stream and from these animals, the message I want to keep for myself and give to you is, learn from the past, stay in the present, and don't worry about the future. Plan for it, but don't worry about the future. I mentioned to you two sayings about history which I love, and one of them I mentioned, that was nations that do not learn from their history are condemned to repeat it, and I said the same thing applies for people. And the other one is a bit cynical, but that is also true, and that is, the only thing we learn from history is that we learn nothing. The only thing we learn from history is that we learn nothing. Now this is also very true, but the reason for saying it here is not to be cynical, but to remind myself and you that this does not have to be your and my case. This may be the case with people, it may be the case with nations, with countries, with individuals, but it does not need to be the case with you and me. We can learn from history, our own history, and that's the best teacher, provided we are willing to learn. And then we take that forward to make our present the best possible present that it can be. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us to live our lives in the present in a way which pleases Him, which means that our future will be assured in His assured that we will have His pleasure and His forgiveness when we meet Him. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyil kareem wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin.